also holds the total record, again set in 1998.
Both of those were done, I think, 798 were at Pan American Championship. So, this is a class where we haven't seen the limits of ability, put it that way, tested in recent years, but it's been very competitive. And coming into this group, we've got a couple of returning medalists from last year. We've got, I think, the potential to push something north of 260 in the total. We didn't see any changes to the start list, I believe. Yeah. The 13 that were originally on the start list had one reserve listed. That was Brian Reisenauer. Oddly enough, which we mentioned because of the whole Brazilian thing.
Which is still a bit up in the air.
Right. Although we'll say it's up in the air, but we will say that Fernando Reis is expected to lift.
Right.
Whether or not it's official or if he's an extra, we don't know. But the end result of the wash from all of that is that the U.S. petition to end was granted at least Brian Reisenauer's entrance. And what we had originally thought was that Reisenauer, who was slated as a reserve for the 56s, would lift in this group. But it turns out he will lift as a 62.
It's tough to make that last-minute weight cut, especially down to 56.
Well, and he was training heavy yesterday because he wasn't expecting to lift.
So Jonathan Leyes of Argentina, first attempt, opening at 83 kilograms.
Youth athlete from Argentina. Nice effort, good lift. And this is going to be a situation that I think is similar to what we saw to kick off the start of the 48s, and that I think there might be a couple of 2-minute clocks here at the beginning of this group. Jonathan is obviously a younger lifter. There is obviously some separation to his experience and skill level with him and the rest of the field. So we might see a few 2-minute clocks here in the 80s, and then I expect to see a bunch of attempts once we hit that 90 kilo mark.
Certainly.
And it'll start to pick up.
Certainly. We mentioned that we're not super close to, or at least the Pan American records in this weight category, at least for the senior records, haven't not been pushed in a while, but that's not to say the level of competition isn't good on the international stage. We do have Luis Garcia entered into this category. He is the defending, apologies, he was the Pan American bronze medalist in the snatch last year.
4th overall. He was bronze in 2015 at the Games.
Right.
And he's an Olympian.
He is an Olympian. In fact, he was the highest performing lifter out of the B group
at
the Rio Olympics. Yeah, by a few spots, by like 3 or 4 spots. So interesting bit of trivia there.
The other thing about this weight class is I think we haven't gotten into too much of it with the reduction coming for 2020. There's no change announced. It'll be a long time before there are any changes to the bodyweight classes, but there is some speculation that when the IWF addresses the IOC changes to the Olympic program that we have to deal with, that the size of the minimum limit of this weight class might be moved up.
Right.
So 56 is the bottom end, the lightest that the lightest weight class we have for now. We'll see how that plays out. The one thing about this weight class, on the original start list, there were 12 lifters. This session here is something of a youth movement. I think 6 of our 12 athletes on the start list are either youth or junior lifters. So that's not a surprise also for the lightest body weight class that you'll see.
Right.
And what that means also is that we're seeing nations and countries bring out their newer talent here to start off the quad.
One thing to give a little bit of context now that we're waiting on a weight change is, that JP mentioned is the IWF addressing. Oh, actually, we do have Jonathan Leyes coming up for a second attempt. So we'll talk in a second about the IOC actions and announcements recently that affected the number of weightlifting athletes and sponsor weightlifting athletes at the Tokyo Olympics.
Right.
So we could talk about that in just a second. After Jonathan's second attempt, lifter from Argentina, 5-kilo jump from 83 kilograms to 88 kilograms.
Looks like no lift by majority decision there for Leas.
So Jonathan Leas is the only youth lifter in this. Sorry, there are 2 youth lifters in this session. Apologies, one of 2. But as JP mentioned,
Half the field.
A handful of juniors as
Yeah.
well. So, but what we were talking about was the fact that this weight class, it's a little unclear what this could look like in Tokyo, because while I'm sure a lot of weightlifting fans were hoping that with the introduction of an additional women's bodyweight class, the 90 kilogram class, that there would be 8 men's categories and 8 women's categories at the Tokyo Olympics. Instead, there are going to be 7 of each, which means that a men's weight category is going to be removed. Which one, we're not sure.
And the other thing is there could be some reshuffling of all of the weight classes they may change. And what I'm speculating, or what I've been hearing, is there's talk that if one is dropped outright, which I don't think that would happen necessarily, that's my assumption. If they are reshuffled, I think the bottom end of 56 will go higher. Maybe 59, maybe 60. So it's interesting. This will become a class where it basically you have to get bigger to lift it, period. All right, so now here's Leas, 3rd attempt, 88 kilos. He made his opener with 83. It looks like the next lifter will be the other youth athlete in the field. Ranier Martinez is sitting on an increase to 89 kilos. Good lift. That should work.
Nice improvement. Nice to see Leas come out and make that improvement. 3 white lights, so he'll be credited with 88 kilograms on his 2nd attempt snatch, which means Ranier Martinez, the other youth athlete, as JP mentioned, of Panama, will be opening at 89 kilograms. Is a little more viewer friendly. Certainly you can see all of the athletes in this class in one session. We still do have a few B sessions throughout the week. Lifting takes place through Thursday, but a few of them, including the women's 48 kilo and the men's 56 kilo, the B sessions were just consolidated. So now we have Ranier Martinez, opening attempt, 89 kilograms, lifter out of Panama. All right, I believe that was a good lift. We actually didn't see the lights come up on the screen, but I believe that was a good lift for Martinez, which makes the lifter Diego Soto of Chile. He'll be opening at 90 kilograms on the barbell. We're going to watch this replay on his opening.
No doubt. Love that punch out. There was one thing I should note. Hyun Serna of Colombia is out. I did not realize that he is out for Team Colombia, so he is not in this group, which is interesting because he could have been a contender for the medals based on his entry total. So that will open things up a bit. Now we have Diego Soto, and that's going to be a good lift.
Almost a power snatch. I would love to see that replay from the side. I think we can get. Okay. Apparently we actually don't have that replay. No worries. We'll see him come out for his second and third attempts. The lifter becomes Ruben Olmedo of Peru.
Olmedo. No,
oh, sorry,
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
apologies.
And at 33, he's the oldest in this category. You don't see too many masters at 56 or close to masters.
There have been a few. We've seen a few exceptions, especially in in Europe, actually.
One notably, who's been around basically forever, but I forgot his last name. Belgian, right?
Belgian, and he's Tom. I forget his last name. And he I think he's finally retired, but into his mid-40s, he was competing as a 56. Yeah. Did have I believe a world championship medal back in the early 2000s.
All right, so Almeida moved up. That put Ranier Martinez on the clock with 90 kilos, and we didn't expect him to take that.
Too many 2-minute clocks, no athletes really following themselves. This should be a competitive weight class. We should see a pretty tight field here, at least.
There's a shelf. There's a block in the middle,
Yeah.
and there are three guys who are, I think, a cut above, and that's Luis Garcia and Carl Berta, who are right now slated for 110. The question is whether or not Ferruzola will also move up his opener. He's sitting on 100. So those three guys are have a little separation, at least from the group now. Nice effort again.
Chases Martinez of Panama will be credited with a successful second attempt.
He snatched 90 at the Youth World Championships earlier this year. That was in April. So he's already above what he did just a few months ago. Good for him. And he's got another attempt in hand. So nice to see a little bit of progress over a short amount of time. I mean, he, a year ago at the Junior Pan Ams at 56, did just 76 kilos. So he's already, 15 plus kilo improvement in just the snatch over the course of a year. And it's nice to see the level of activity. He's been in a youth Pan Ams. He's been in a Junior Pan Ams. He's been in a Youth Worlds. And now here he is at a Senior Pan Ams. And he's, 2001 year of birth. So he also has another year as a youth athlete. Maybe we'll see him at a Youth Worlds next year. Again, at a Youth Worlds. I mean, so this is what we talk about. It's straight up competition experience, platform experience. And
a lot of frequent flyer miles to get it.
A lot of frequent flyer miles, yeah.
It's the challenges that lifters go through, especially lifters that are going through significant weight cuts as far as body weight. When they travel, it's not just time spent on a plane in an airport. It's, do you have food that's familiar? Do you have your sleeping conditions changed? There are a lot of factors that coaches and athletes and team administrators have to work through whenever an athlete travels internationally.
Yeah, and the general rule is the further you have to travel, the longer you're going to stay there.
Right.
Here in Miami, I think most of the teams arrived on Thursday. There might have been a few that came in on Wednesday. And if you think about, there's a great distance north and south from here within the Western Hemisphere and the athletes from the nations who are part of the Pan Am Federation. But in terms of time zone changes, there aren't that many time zone changes.
It's not as bad as it could be. In fact, some of the athletes who experience the biggest time zone changes are those from the western coasts of the United States and Canada.
Which is 3 hours. Yeah. All right, so now here's Ranier Martinez, third attempt, 93 kilos. He was successful with 91 on his second and 89 from his first attempt.
He chased his second attempt forward a little bit. Let's see if he can make a correction and catch this one a little bit more balanced.
All right.
I think that was an improvement on his second attempt. 3 white lights.
3 for 3. Good lift for Martinez.
All right, that makes Dario Cruz of Guatemala the lifter, opening attempt at 95 kilograms.
Take a look at this here from Ranier.
So it says Dario Cruz, but that's actually Ranier Martinez of Panama taking his third and final attempt. Gives a little punch toward the sky there. He's happy with that. All right, we'll see Dario come up here for his opening attempt. Just applying some wrist wraps. We can see in the warm-up area, athletes still getting in some reps. Coach is carefully watching the screen.
Now, this is pretty big. Dario's been in a couple of youth Pan Ams. This is his first major competition as a senior. He is a junior athlete, 97 year of birth. Haven't really seen him much, or I couldn't find much. The last time I've seen him were 2 youth Pan Ams. He snatched 79. You know, that was a couple of years ago, granted, but here he is opening with 95 kilos. So even if he hasn't traveled internationally, he's obviously made some progress.
Very good looking lift.
All the way around, quick. Little shuffle to the side there, but still, I mean, I like the way he moves.
That's one of the most exciting things about the Continental Championships, I think, is that you'll see a lot of athletes that have been, I don't want to say kept under wraps in their home countries, but they've been incubated and they've been, brought up in the programs of the National Weightlifting Federations and maybe done some national competitions and local competitions. But they've matured to the level now to where they're making sometimes their first international appearance. And we've seen some lifters really come out of nowhere and make a big splash at Pan Am. So excited to see that happen this weekend because I'm pretty sure it will. All right, Ruben Olmedo of Puerto Rico.
First attempt. Second attempt, excuse me.
No,
no.
This is his first attempt.
We introduced him before
Right.
and he moved up. Going back on him a little bit. Good save.
Good technician. I liked all the phases of that lift. Looked pretty smooth.
He has been to a couple of Pan Ams in the past. He has snatched 100 kilos in both of his prior Pan Am appearances.
He is the oldest athlete in this session as well.
He lifted in his first Pan Ams in 2010, lifted in 2014 at Pan Ams, and here he is again at 2017. And in both of those, over the course of now, what is 7 years, he might snatch 100 kilos in each of those 3 appearances. So let's see what he's got. But in the meantime, now we will go back to the second attempt of Diego Soto. The same 95 kilos will stay on the bar. A little deeper, but still solid. 2 for 2 for Diego.
All right, take another look at Soto's lift here from the side. A little bit of bar movement front and back there. He makes it work for him.
But even though that movement was there, it didn't feel or seem wild, right? So good control, nice effort overall. Good start there for him. 2 are on the board. And now we're going to see Julian Rivera of Ecuador for the first time.
We can take another look at that from the side, I think, but it seems like the catch just kind of shot him back out from under that. We'll see that sometimes on opening attempts here.
A little bit of that dynamic, just kind of lock and yank right off the ground there. Not too dramatic, but he does do it. And sometimes if you sort of, I don't really like use the word, but it's kind of what it looks like, but like rip it off the ground like that, it could be in the wrong direction. So he never really seemed to have the right line on that one, but it looked light. We'll say that pretty confidently.
I would agree. I would agree with that.
That's within him.
The weight moved quickly. I'd certainly agree there. Positioning was just a little off. So it looks like
he is going to repeat here.
You can see back behind the stage there, we have the warm-up area. Rivera will be following himself, lifter from Ecuador.
He snatched 101 on his opener in Tokyo. He was at the Junior Worlds last month.
Oh, wow.
So taking it easy here, relatively speaking, with a lighter opener.
And it's difficult to peak for 2 international competitions
so quickly.
Yeah.
Well, he was also at Youth Worlds in Penang last year in October. So talk about frequent flyer miles. There we go. All right.
You can see the look on his face. We've seen that from a few lifters going, there it is.
Yeah.
Where was that the first time it came out? But good lift for Rivera. That brings up Olmedo of Puerto Rico for his second attempt, 97 kilograms.
Kind of want Olmedo to make 100.
I'm not sure, actually. If
I don't think he's going to come out. He's going to get announced and change. Yeah, there is that change. That would have been a 2-kilo jump. He's, for now, moved to 98, which is going to put Julian Rivera back on the bar. And because the clock never started, they will give Rivera a 2-minute clock here. And 97 leaves him on the bar following himself, even though that is, it's his automatic increase. So this too will change.
Again, if you're just tuning in, this is the 2017 Pan American Weightlifting Championships. We are live just west of Miami. This is one of 2 major international competitions that will take place on U.S. soil this year, the other being the World Championships in Anaheim this coming winter, November, December. And for Barbend.com, USA Weightlifting's official media partner, I'm David Tao, and I'm joined by someone who should be no stranger for fans of USA Weightlifting.
Well, JP Nicoletta, but I wouldn't put it that way necessarily. What is no stranger, or what has been no stranger to fans hopefully at home has been great lifting this year, both at national level events, and we've had the pleasure of seeing some international events on local soil. We were talking about later this year that we're going to get the World Championships, 2 consecutive Senior World Championships on U.S. soil. I can't even tell you the last time that happened. I think the last time we hosted,
I don't think it has happened.
2, not back-to-back. I think back-to-back
yeah.
happened in the 40s or 50s. I think it probably
maybe
happened.
A little bit before our time.
Yeah, but I think we've definitely had 2 in the same decade, and that was in the 70s. South Florida has a history of holding some, terrific competitions. The Junior Worlds were here in Daytona Beach in 1989, I think it was.
All right, we have Ruben Olmedo of Puerto Rico. His second attempt, 98 kilograms, so 3-kilogram jump. We've seen him hit 100 kilograms on the Pan American stage several times, going back to 2010, I believe.
Yeah. No, almost had it.
He's got a little in front of him. One of the taller athletes in this session takes a very wide grip on the snatch. That can be a benefit in the snatch portion.
I think here he might have shifted back on his heels a little bit. No, yeah,
he kind of you could see his head kind of turn up and his chest fall forward a little bit. It's a tough. That's a lot of weight to kind of try and save with just your delts.
Yeah, especially as a 56-kilo athlete. So with that, he will be following himself here with 98 kilos. They're running a 2-minute clock. Doesn't look like he moved up. No, he is going to sit on this for now. And right, so here's the third attempt of Ruben Almeida for Puerto Rico. He made his opener with 95, missed 98 on his second. And it looks like he's going to be good to go with 98 here on his third. Good comeback off a miss, good lift for Almeida. And now we're going to go to 99 kilos for the second attempt of Dario Cruz.
So Cruz has been, he's been sitting there in the warm-up area for a little bit. So the hope is that he's still warm enough and primed for this attempt.
And warm is a good word, actually, because it is pretty cool in here. And I don't know that everybody from, Cuba, South America,
even
Guatemala,
from South Florida.
I don't know if they're used to that.
Misses it behind. That'll be a no lift for Dario Cruz on his second attempt. It being South Florida, the weather has been somewhat unpredictable. There was a rain shower earlier that created some flooding in the training hall. So, conditions can be a bit unpredictable, and athletes and coaches have had to adjust accordingly.
Well, that training hall has been, been a difficult thing, period. It originally opened on Thursday in a ballroom in the hotel, in the host hotel, but it was on the second floor, and there were some concerns.
Anyone who's ever worked out in a gym, in a weightlifting gym that is in a building with other occupants, is perhaps very familiar with the noise complaints.
Yeah. So, and also structural. I mean, it was bouncing around a bit. So the decision was made to move that training hall, and the day that everything got set, it all got set up this morning, and then that thunderstorm blew in and created a bit of a river through the middle of it. So I'm not quite sure what they're going to do. I think they're trying to clean it back up now to make it available for for teams that need to train. All right, so now here's Barrera, 100 kilos, first attempt. Barrera of Chile. Took 99 on his opener last year and made it. And it looks like he's going to be successful with 100 kilos in his first attempt here.
All right, we're about halfway through the total attempts in this session.
And this is going to get packed together here at 100. There are right now three athletes that are looking for 100 kilos. Julian Rivera of Ecuador is now the second looking for the weight. This is his third attempt.
This is Diego Soto.
Excuse me, Diego Soto.
Chile.
Ferrazola, who I mentioned earlier, had been on 100. He has since moved up to 102. Wow. There's a lot going. It may be hard to see, but there was a lot going on with that.
That was a strong fight. I think we have a replay from the side, but it looked like he had to fight very hard to keep that bar from going behind him.
Yeah.
We can see from this angle.
I think there were two shifts. Yep. And as he was coming up, I mean, the bar was starting to turn, his weight was going back, and he just stopped it from happening.
I think that replay didn't even quite do justice to how hard we could tell he was fighting to keep that bar stable. But a good attempt, so glad to see him make that, and that brings
3 for 3 the hard way.
Looks like Julian Rivera will become the lifter at 101 kilograms.
And it looks like they are getting him ready. He will be coming out for this. This is his third attempt.
101 kilograms on the bar. The lifter from Ecuador. It's always easy to tell a lifter from Ecuador from the brightly colored singlets. I'm a big fan personally.
Rivera has snatched 101 on 2 other occasions. Oh,
That looked a lot like his first attempt, JP.
Yeah.
I think that dynamic start might have gotten him a little out of position. The strength is there, the speed is there, but did not catch it in a way where that bar was really ever secure above him.
so that's a 1 for 3. He'll be credited with 96 kilos from his second attempt, that being Rivera. And now we will go back to Dario Cruz for Cruz's third attempt. And he is taking a 2 kilo jump off of a miss with 99 kilos. So he made 97 on his opener, going for 101 here. This is a 7 kilo swing, if you think about it, right? If he's not successful, that he's got a shot at 101, but if he misses, he'll be back down to 95. So this will keep him close to an outside chance at a medal in the total if he can get this done. No, too much.
You know, he didn't look strong off the ground on that. It was he just kind of ripped it, it felt like. But he will be credited with 95 kilograms, which was his opening attempt. That makes Rafael Ferruzola from Ecuador the lifter, opening at 103 kilograms. So we were actually wondering, this is a good question. We were wondering what Ferruzola would open with.
Right,
because
originally on at 100.
Because we have 2 other lifters in this session who are listed to open at 110. That could go up, of course.
Right. And the reason why we were looking at that in particular is because he was third on the start list. So the question was how close would Ferruzola be to the leaders, if you will?
And he's gone up 3 kilos on the 100. So we'll see if he ends up following himself. My guess is yes.
No, Barrera will go to 104.
Oh, that's right.
So
well, that's a good lift.
That is a very good lift.
Yes, so Barrera will go up. So he won't be following himself, but we might not see the other 2 athletes who have yet to snatch for a bit.
Exactly right. And I think this is going to be a real dogfight between Luis Garcia and Carlos Berna of Colombia, and that could make for a real nice matchup.
Well, we saw that in the clean and jerk portion of the women's 48 kilogram session. We had Segura and
Carolina Valencia,
right there, kind of going back and forth, blow for blow. It makes for great spectating, and it also is really good insight into the strategic element that goes on in the back room.
All right, so now here is Francisco Barrera's second attempt with 104 kilos. If he's successful, this will move him back into the lead for now. Oh, yeah.
All right, that'll be a good lift for Francisco Barrera of Chile. So we've got a nice tight grouping here between him and Ferruzola. Looks like they'll probably be following each other for at least a couple of attempts.
And this is, if you think of it, this is a dogfight for a guaranteed medal between the 2 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of the outcome of Garcia and Berna,
Yep.
Regardless of the outcome for the 2 of them, if
only 4 lifters left.
Right. Whoever wins this dogfight here between Barrera and Ferruzola
will be guaranteed a snatch.
Exactly.
Medal. Yeah, that's correct. And also, I mean, they're also, I'm sure, looking at the total medal. They're seeing these other two lifters significantly, perhaps ahead of them on the listed openers. So this could put them in good position to get on the overall podium as well.
Right, and they're both similar,
Right.
at least on the start list for their clean and jerks. One at 125, one at 127. All right, so now Ferrazola is not going to play the 1 kilo game. He's going to play the 2 kilo game and go to 106.
Again, not unexpected.
No. And Barrera has already put in for 107. But Barrera is sitting on a third attempt. This is Rafael Ferrazola's second attempt. So this is going to – they've got to make every one of these.
Right.
Put it that way.
Just 4 athletes left in this session, 2 of whom have yet to make a snatch attempt, or attempt a snatch.
Both slated for 110.
That could go up.
It could. Especially because both of them, I believe, have done more.
Oh, yes.
So,
yeah.
All right, so now here's 106. Another beautiful effort there.
Well, if Barrera wants that snatch medal, he's going to have to work to potentially take it from Rafael Ferrazola.
And this 107 would do it, but man,
that's a great looking lift.
This leads me to believe that Ferrazola is at least good for 108. And that's the thing.
I would say so.
So Francisco Barrera is going to take what he needs to get back ahead on his third attempt. If he misses, Ferrazola is guaranteed at least a bronze. If he makes it, Ferrazola will have to go at least to 108 to take the lead back. So this is a huge lift here. This is a lift for a medal potentially for Francisco Barrera. Wow.
And he stays in contention. That was a really fantastic looking attempt from Francisco Barrera. He had to fight for it.
And he got it done.
But he came through.
And in a tough spot, he just pulled out a gritty third attempt. 3 for 3 on the day for him. And now Rafael Ferrazola, who's already 2 for 2, must be perfect with whatever weight he selects here in order to take that position back. And right now they're running a 107 on him. That has to be changed. Okay, and there it is. So 108 as expected. The question here for Ferrazola, do you take the 108 and guarantee it, or do you game a little bit and go 110?
I think he's, if I were him, I would play it safe with 108.
And take the shot at a guaranteed medal.
Because you have to kind of assume that the 2 lifters yet to come are going to make 110. You have to assume your competition is going to make an opener.
And this 108 will match what we've seen Ferrazola do. He did 108 on his third attempt at the Junior Worlds in Tokyo. He was 3 for 3 there, 103, 106, 108. And here he is again, same string. 103, 106, 108, good lift.
So the
guaranteed bronze.
The junior lifter from Ecuador has just locked up a medal.
Yes.
In the snatch. We're not 100% sure what color yet.
Guaranteed at least to be bronze. Right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So now we are down to our final 2 competitors of the group, 110, and the game is on.
They're already jacking it up. They, as guessed.
Both of them have moved. So Berna has moved to 113. Luis Garcia has moved to 114.
Berna, who's coming out for his opening attempt right now, he is an Olympian. He represented Colombia in Rio, finished in 8th place, the highest finishing lifter out of the B session in Rio.
Right. You mentioned that. He opened with 115 kilos there. He missed his first attempt, came back and made that plus another 3 on his third. So this is in territory that we've seen him before.
Right. We know he's capable of the high teens, maybe even around the 120 range.
He has done 120.
Okay.
little bit of time ago. He did that back in 2013 at the World Championships, but he has been that good. So he may need it for gold here. Wow.
And you can see, we're going to check out the replay from the side there, but very workmanlike, great technician, great speed.
Does he stop this from going back from him, going back a little bit?
Just a little bit, I think, here.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, the weight was taking him back, but boy, does he stand up like nothing.
That takes a lot of experience, because a lot of lifters will try and pause in the bottom to stabilize the bar. He didn't have a choice there. If he had stuck around in the bottom of that, he might have lost that lift behind. So it was actually a very good decision for him to just come straight up with it. Now we have Luis Garcia.
1 kilo more. 114 kilos.
I'm looking forward to this.
This is
This
just
could be a battle.
go. So if he makes this, you're going to see 115 out of Berna. Oh, no. And now Berna is Berna is going to burn his 2-minute clock. Berna is going to let himself get introduced here.
I just want to say apologies to the viewers. It's Garcia who finished 8th in Rio, not Berna.
Oh, okay.
So Garcia finished 8th. My apologies on that.
Right, Garcia, well, we haven't clarified that. They were both Olympians. They were both at the Rio
but
Games.
I said that Berna finished in 8th. That is incorrect.
Yeah,
Garcia
but they
finished in
both
8th.
snatched 118. And it was Garcia out of the
so you
big.
can pardon the confusion,
Yeah.
maybe the confusion. So it seems like this could be a really great budding or already established 56 kilogram rivalry.
What just happened there? Why did they give him a 2-minute clock? They never started the clock. Oh, so Garcia is running now on his second attempt, 114 kilos. What happened there, Carlos Berna moved up to 115, but he did it too soon. They made the change too quickly. They made the change before he was formally introduced, or before the clock started, which means the lifter who was following himself did receive his full 2-minute clock. It doesn't matter because they have moved up, or he has moved up, excuse me. He being Luis Garcia has moved up off of that miss to 115. So that is now going to bring Berna back. And Berna is on at 100. No, Berna moved up.
So the lifter right now is Luis Garcia with 115 kilograms.
So he is following himself.
But going up a kilo.
Right. And it is now a 1-minute clock. So he burned his own 1-minute clock. But why would you do that? He was on a 2-minute clock with 114.
Again, it's strategy and timing.
It wasn't a great play, though. He actually burned his own. He actually burned his own clock. That's how that played out. All right. Either way, second attempt, 115 kilos, Luis Garcia. Doesn't matter. Good lift. There's your leader for now.
All right, but this is interesting because by missing that first attempt at 114 kilograms, this puts Berna back in the driver's seat.
Very much so.
Because Garcia originally, we thought, as the lifter going after.
With
Berna,
a higher start number.
With a higher start number. It gives him the advantage.
Yes.
Strategically, but now Berna has more attempts left.
Yes. So Berna can hunt him down.
Right. So
he's
going up 1 kilo here to 116. Assuming he makes this, Garcia will be able to answer, and then Berna will still have an attempt after that.
He controls his own fate. That's what it comes down to.
He's really in the driver's seat here.
But he absolutely must make this to hold that driver's seat.
Otherwise, the advantage
swings back. So this is a huge spot for Carlos Berna of Colombia.
This could be a gold medal lift ultimately.
Yes. It's a good one. It is good for the lead. And he still has another attempt in hand.
All right, so this is interesting. So we'll see. So Luis Garcia now has a tough decision. He has to go to 117. Again, there is no body weight rule anymore. It's whoever attempts the weight first. So if he were to go try 116 and make it, it wouldn't be enough to jump ahead of Berna. But the question is, how much does he think he's good for? How much does he want to push? Because Berna still has a third attempt.
So he is gaining it a little bit. And instead of taking the 17, that would give him the lead, he has elected to take 18.
And I will say both of these lifters seem capable of this from what we've seen today.
They've both done it. In fact, they both did it
but,
at the Olympics.
But today they both seem capable.
Oh,
based on
absolutely.
those attempts. So this is great, and I'm actually, whatever the outcome of this, I'm hoping it's a repeat in the clean and jerk.
Oh, great. Absolutely. All right. Well, we're now down to our final 2 attempts of the snatch competition in the men's 56 kilo category. 118 kilos, Luis Garcia. This will put him in the lead. Wow.
Do we have a fight or what? Good lift for Luis Garcia. 3 white lights. Currently in the lead.
Look at the face.
Meaning that Carlos Berna Gonzalez has to make 119.
Yes.
There's really no reason for him to go
anywhere else.
Take the minimum weight to win.
And that is what he has selected.
You can't write it up any better than this.
No.
This is one of the most dramatic positions in weightlifting for it to come down to the last lift for the gold medal in the snatch and the lead heading into the clean and jerks. With how closely these 2 lifters are positioned relative to each other, a 1 kilo advantage here going into the clean and jerk matters.
And they are both slated to open with the same weight in the clean and jerk.
Exactly.
To your point. So this is a huge lift. We are in our 2nd session of the Pan Ams. Colombia has won gold in the first snatch competition, that being the women's 48. If successful here, Carlos Berna will make it 2 for 2 thus far, at least in the snatch for Colombia. Oh, wow.
And Carlos Berna Gonzalez is your snatch gold medalist at the 2017 Pan American Championships. What a battle. That was some of the best lifting you'll see, and most dramatic lifting you'll see on any stage, let alone an international stage like this one. Folks, we're going to watch this gold medal winning snatch here. All right, so what a great lift. All right, we're going to check that out from the side. This is it. This is the gold medal lift right here.
Just unbelievable. Delivering in the clutch. You know, that's what an Olympian does, and this guy just knows how to make lifts. It was great to watch.
All right, folks. Well, don't go anywhere. We will be back in 10 minutes for the clean and jerk portion of the men's 56 kilogram session. If it's anything like the snatch portion, if that's any indicator, it's going to be a battle. But until then, from barbend.com, I'm David Tao, joined by
Jay. So this is going to be good stuff. We do have, as we mentioned, a good mix of youth and junior athletes in here. So we'll see some up-and-comers before we get to the battle at the end. And right now, the first weight on the bar is going to be Diego. Is going to be 110 kilos for Diego Soto of Chile.
And if you're just tuning in, as JP mentioned, we are coming to you live from just west of downtown Miami. I'm David Tao of barbend.com, the official media partner of USA Weightlifting, and I'm joined by the incomparable JP Nicoletta on color commentary today.
We're in our 2nd session of 3 today. Following this group, we'll go back
by the incomparable JP Nicoletta on color commentary today.
We're in our second session of 3 today. Following this group, we'll go back. Power snatch, all right.
Power jerk, yeah.
Power jerk, excuse me.
Very well. You know, you mentioned that, but again, if you had seen a picture at the end of that lift, it would have been difficult to tell if it were a snatch or a jerk because he readjusted his grip very wide. It's something that we do see from a lot of South American lifters.
Yeah, Argentina, Colombia, Dominica.
Right.
Very common to see that style taught.
Actually, we see it from some North American lifters as well. Kane Wilkes is a super heavy, one of very few super heavyweight athletes to jerk with that wide grip in the world. I'd say he actually is probably one of the only ones that you'll see at that level.
But Leyes is doubling down on the technique. He's doing it
with a power jerk.
Exactly. Showing this one more time.
I do like his transition. You do see some athletes that do there are a few different ways to do it. There's one coming right out of the squat and immediately readjusting the hands.
Yep.
There's one where you pause and then
control,
do one at a time, which we saw with Anna Segura in the first session. And then the third way, which is how Kane Wilkes does it, simply because there's just so much weight on the bar, he actually has to kind of bend and readjust twice to get his hands that far.
All right, so now here's Diego Soto, first attempt, 112 kilos.
Another fairly wide grip on that jerk, but that'll be a good lift.
And that's a pretty routine opener there for him. I mean, we've seen him do as much as 123 kilos on a couple of occasions, so maybe training through this, maybe not in top shape for for this competition, but 112 is his opener. It is a done attempt. He has already elected to go to 117.
I think
that puts him more in range of where we're used to seeing him, but it might be a little while before we see him again with that 5 kilo jump. But now we're going to go back to Jonathan Leyes.
3 kilogram jump going up to 113 kilograms. You know, just once I want to see a lifter open with a power jerk and then move to a split jerk in the middle of a competition. I don't think we're going to see it here today.
Just for the novelty of it?
But I've never seen it before. It's always my hope.
Oh, nope.
It looks like the bar might have caught his shin on the way up, or he felt something that wasn't quite right. So I'm not 100% sure what happened there. His coach is going to take a look.
I just think he mistimed the pull and it just wasn't there.
Yeah. It certainly happens. I don't think he injured himself. Seems like...
No, I think their demeanor, well, first of all, he's not acting like he's injured, but I think even the demeanor of his coach is there.
It's like, okay, come on.
Yeah,
like
they're just having a conversation. Yeah. I don't see much concern in terms of his health or whether there's an injury there. I don't think so.
You know, one thing we have yet to see, JP, a squat jerk.
It's still early.
It's still early, and you never expect it.
No. And I recall a couple of times where we've been watching and was, where did that come from? And your response is, well, you never really know.
You never really
unless you know for certain.
I think it was. I didn't expect that. Well, you never do.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one in particular was at the 2016 U.S. Nationals Olympic Trials where Kendrick Farris pulled that out on his third attempt.
Well, you never know what kind of jerk he's going to show up with.
He's
power jerk, squat. All right, Jonathan Leyes, third and final attempt at 113 kilograms. Something kind of was off about the pull on his second attempt, so the hope is that he can make a correction.
The lift here, yeah. Right now sitting on a 198 kilo total. Nice effort, made the correction there in the clean.
Much better jerk than his first one. The first one had a little bit of wobble, but he really pushed himself under that bar, and clearly has found maybe an unconventional jerk style, but one that works well for him. So he'll be credited with 113 kilograms, which brings up Ruben Olmedo of Puerto Rico, though we might have a change. 115 kilos on the bar. Okay, we will have Olmedo of Puerto Rico
Do we see him coming out? Yep.
Yep.
Looks like he will be keeping this 115. We talk about his history. He has been to a couple of Pan Ams in the past. What we really see from him, he usually gets into the middle 120, like 120, 122, somewhere in there. 115 is about, well, we have seen him open with this before at a Pan Ams. That's what he opened with in 2010. So let's see if he can get on the board. I think 122 is the most we've seen from him.
Bit wob. I don't think they're going to give it to him. Yeah, 2 against. I definitely saw some arm movement there. We can actually replay that from the front, I believe. And we're going to see some soft elbows there.
Yeah, and you know, and at the same time, it wasn't an egregious press out, but yeah, it was still something there. And the other thing that I think happened at the same time, which might have made it look worse than it was that the bar also went back on him a little bit in the jerk. Like, as he was recovering, it looked like it almost went behind him. Watch, there's like right there.
Yeah.
So together, though, I think it was that right arm that might have gotten him that no lift decision. So 115 is going to stay on, 2-minute clock. And at the beginning of this session, I thought, well, maybe we'll start seeing some flow quickly. Maybe we won't play the 2-minute clock game so much. But we've now been in a situation where 2 of our last 3 attempts have come on the heels of 2-minute clocks. So that tends to slow things down, tends to mess with the flow, but we're going to get it going.
But at the end, toward the end of the session, I think we're going to be rewarded with two separate battles. The snatch portion of this session started off slowly, but it ended at a crescendo.
Yes.
Again, oh, go ahead, JP.
No, I was just going to say we're running this 2-minute clock now on Ruben Olmedo, 115. We're at about a minute. Usually you see lifters come out somewhere between a minute 10, 50 seconds to a minute 10, and that's about what he's doing. So good amount of rest.
He's got experience on the international stage. None of this is new to him. This is his 3rd Pan American Championships. Better jerk, I would say.
And that will be a good lift.
All right, he's
on
on
the white lights.
If you're just tuning in, this is the 2017 Pan American Championships. It's the first of 2 major international weightlifting competitions on U.S. soil this year, the second being the World Weightlifting Championships, which will take place in Anaheim, California later this year in November and early December. For Barbend.com, the official media partner of USA Weightlifting, and I must say a great resource for all things strength sports. I'm David Tao, joined by JP Nicoletta on the color commentary today.
It looks like we've got 1-minute clock running for Ranier Martinez, who is our other youth athlete. I don't see him in a terrible rush to get to the stage.
I think there's going to be a change here.
They are starting that clock on Martinez. Up, and here he comes.
So I was wrong, no change. So he will be taking 117. He's cutting it just a tiny bit short. right here. About 30, a little over 30 seconds left. Plenty of time. Opening attempt for Ronnie Martinez of Panama.
Popped out. It's that wide grip. Well done. Good lift by majority decision. Somebody saw something they did not like, but 2-1 will work.
Again, another one of those athletes we've seen with a very wide grip on the jerk portion. Now it reduces the distance the bar has to travel, so you don't have to put as much force up onto the bar or get as far underneath. However, that is sometimes at the cost of stability.
Right. And watch here how he does this, though. He comes out of the clean very nicely, and hands just go right to the spot. Now, the only danger with that is that sometimes if you land in an uneven, an uneven grip, that can cause a problem overhead as well.
There are some lifters, too, who prefer to have a very large and forceful punch up through the shoulders and the arms. Some lifters do finish their jerks with the arms, and it's pretty much impossible to do it with your hands that wide out. One lifter who comes to mind who did that was Dmitry Klokov. Some of his jerks, he just seemed to kind of muscle it up, and he kept a very narrow grip in the jerk. So there is more than one way to skin a cat in weightlifting. There's certainly more than one way to lift heavy weights, and that technique and getting the hands right out to where he needed them takes thousands and thousands of reps to really perfect.
All right, so now there's been a change. Dario Cruz is going to be the lifter. 1 minute will run at 120 kilos for his first attempt. Cruz made his opening attempt in the snatch with 95 kilos.
But I believe that was all. He was not successful in his second and third attempt.
That's right.
All right, there is a change. Nope.
No, they were getting that loaded.
Dario Cruz is the lifter from Guatemala. This is his last year of junior eligibility. Birth year in 1997. So taking advantage of the chalk bucket and also getting some of that rosin under the chalk bucket on the bottom of his shoes for a little extra grip.
Yeah, actually, he's the first one I've noticed who's gone to it. I haven't seen too much, at least in the first two sessions, which is good. I haven't seen too many people slipping, so that's a good sign to see. But yeah, I always like it when lifters go after the rosin. Nice clean. All right, a few extra steps there on the recovery of the jerk, but overall,
good lift. You know, JP, one thing that I think was, it is maybe a bit cooler in this venue than some of these athletes might be used to.
Good point, yeah.
However, it has kept the humidity down a bit, which I think is something that we've seen in the past contribute to a humid venue can cause a slippery platform or contribute to it. Here we haven't seen any issues with that so far.
All right, now we're going to be back to Ranier Martinez with that same 120 kilos on the bar. This is his second attempt. He was successful with 117 kilos on his opener. Nice.
All right, he is 5 for 6 on the day. That was a 3 kilo jump. He's already significantly improved on his total from the Youth World Championships.
Earlier this year.
So he right now is sitting after that on a 213 kilogram total. He only totaled 205 kilograms in Thailand at the Youth World Championships earlier this year.
Clean and jerked 115 on his opener. Missed 118 twice, and here he is. He's got 120 on the board
Yeah.
with another attempt in hand.
Great to see.
All right, now we'll go back to Almeida, 120 kilos. This is his third attempt. We mentioned in the snatch that Almeida, at 33 years old, is the oldest in this group. This is his third Pan Am Championships. We've seen him do as much as, actually, I was incorrect earlier. He's done 127, but he did that in the Criollo tournament back in 2011. So he's been lifting a while. Nice clean here. Little sideways. I don't know if this is going to go his way. It might. And it does.
3-4. So we saw there maybe an uneven catch, and we can actually watch that again from the front. I'd like to see it. We saw maybe an uneven catch, but his arms were straight.
Oh, the whole time. Yeah.
Which is, you can shift under the barbell, but he did keep his arms locked out. It was his shoulders that sunk and rose unevenly, I think, there. But a good fight, and he'll get that lift.
So this is interesting. After that attempt, yeah, I to your point, I did not see any infractions, but it's a technical timeout. This is not a jury stop. This is not basketball either, which is funny. You don't usually hear the term technical timeout, but the TC came out and went to the jury's table. So I'm not sure if they were going to review this. It didn't look like they were.
I think they might on that one. That was.
But why did the TC come back for the stop? The TC approached the jury table first.
That's interesting. Did you see if they called the TC over? Sometimes they'll do that.
I don't know. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They might have called the TC over as the go-between.
Yeah, they might have.
We saw that happen at the Junior National Championships earlier this year in Kansas City a few times. Very interesting. So, folks, we are on a technical stop right now. A jury stop more specifically. It looks like the jury and referees might have disagreed on that lift. If all three jury members disagree on that, disagree with the referees, they can overturn that lift. This is an international competition, so obviously held to very high standards.
Well, it looks like they've made a decision. The refs are going back to their seats. The jury instructs the TC what's going on. The TC will now relay whatever this decision was back to the speaker, who will make the official announcement, and they will say why. So it looks like Dan Rose, who is the TC, is announcing or has informed the speaker that it's no lift.
All right, so we had originally thought that Almeida's lift was good, but it has been overturned by the jury, so they clearly saw some arm movement there.
Yeah. So unfortunately, that was no lift there for Almeida. He'll be credited with 115 from his opening attempt and finish the day with a 213 kilo total.
And that brings up Diego Soto of Chile. Second attempt, 121 kilograms. Looks to be a good attempt.
It's a pretty big jump from his opener, right? What did he make? 12 on his opener.
So he jumped 9 kilograms. We haven't.
It's the biggest we've seen so far.
That's the biggest we've seen so far, and also this is a reminder. This is the lightest men's weight class.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty rare to see a 5 kilo increase, let alone a 9 kilogram increase. But it worked for him. Something was feeling right. My guess is that the 112 might have been a bit conservative for him.
Yes.
On an opener.
One thing we should also note, in this group, at least for the first day of lifting, the jury here at the Pan Ams, they're going with the jury of 3. Usually it's a 5.
Yeah.
Not sure why. I know we have a couple of Cat 1s here, but they're running a 3-person jury, and the point there is that it's easier to get a majority decision or a unanimous decision to overturn a lift with 3.
All right, Ranier Martinez, third attempt, 121 kilograms.
He better be careful on how he drops that. He's excited, and there's good reason why.
That's 3 white lights, but you have to bring the barbell, you have to follow the barbell down past your shoulders. And actually, if we watch the replay on that from the side,
we'll see where he lets go. But with that lift, and it doesn't look like there's any chirping from the jury on that, with that lift, Ranier Martinez, youth athlete, is 6 for 6 on the day.
Watch where he drops this. It's
where his hands let go after he makes a great clean.
It's one of the maybe least popular rules in weightlifting.
Yeah, yeah, it's true, actually. But if you think about it, where the rule has evolved from, yeah, let's see what he does. No, he gets it to shoulder width. He did what he had to do.
He knew what he was doing.
But
it
was
there,
on it was on the or shoulder height. It was on the edge there though. But you think about the evolution of that rule.
You used to have to fall down all the way. You
all
used
the
to
way
bring
back.
it down.
Yeah, you had to place it back on the platform.
All right, Dario Cruz. Second attempt, 124 kilograms on the bar.
Opened with 120, made it.
Good clean.
Oh,
I saw a little slippage there, and interestingly enough, he had actually. We can watch
used
that again
the
from the
rosin.
side.
Yeah.
He had actually used the rosin before, so still experiencing a little slippage there on his back foot. Just watch his back foot here.
Hips rolled under a little bit. Yes,
Yep.
that's exactly what happened to him. And, you know, that makes me wonder if that's his shoe and not the platform, because it would be he's the only one that's happened to.
It's the only one that's happened. He's the only one that's happened to. He put rosin on his shoe, so I feel like it's something that he was actively preparing against.
And there are the rare lifters where it's a problem in terms of pressure, not even the shoe, not equipment related,
Just
not platform motion.
the way pressure plays out
when they're in position,
yeah.
the way that he's recovering, and he might be actually actively pushing that back leg through the big toe, and it may cause his foot to slide back.
My guess is it's a problem he's run into before, which
because
is
he
why
knew it was going to happen. Yeah.
and it certainly did there. And until we have evidence otherwise, I would not blame that on the platform right now.
Yeah, I agree. And again, you know, when you have a platform, we have been to meets and we've seen enough circumstances where lifters have been slipping, and it looks like they're a little uncomfortable with the platform itself. You don't get that vibe at all. Nobody who has walked off the platform in either of the two sessions we've seen today has looked back and pointed,
right,
or anything like that.
Yeah, there've been a few technical stops to wipe things off the platform, to clean off the platform,
which is normal. That happens every meet.
Right, and that'll build as the week goes on, debris and dust.
Yeah.
But right now we have Julian Rivera coming out for his first attempt, 125 kilograms. For those who are used to working in pounds, I have two things to say. One, this is about 275 pounds. Two, learn kilograms.
Learn kilos. Thank you.
This being an international sport, kilograms are the standard.
All right, so now Rivera, who was on the Junior World team for Ecuador, bombed at Junior Worlds in the clean and jerk with 130. So here he is opening 5 kilos lighter, smooth clean.
All right, he's on the board. Great jerk.
And he will not have the same problem just experienced. It's a good lift there for Rivera.
Still looks a little frustrated.
Maybe
sure
because
why.
Obviously he opened just a month ago on a world championship stage with 130. Didn't make it. I think it frustrates him just watching. Like, my body language and read over that is that he just doesn't want to open with 125.
Yeah.
He wanted more.
Right.
He's a younger guy. I think he knows he's good for more. But he had to get one in. 125 was the weight that they selected. It's done. And hopefully they let him play a little bit. Hopefully they give him at least that 130 that he can make good on. We have seen him do 131, which he did at the Youth World Championships in October of last year. Born in '99, he is no longer a youth athlete, but he was in 2016. So he competed in the Youth World Championships. He placed 4th. So 232 kilos is the high mark for him, and I think he would like to get back to that level. So we'll see if he can get to 130 or better and maybe improve upon a performance that he's already given us. So now we'll wait and see what Rivera takes, but we've got 126 kilos for the third and final attempt of Diego Soto.
And folks, for reference, we mentioned earlier, we are probably not going to approach anywhere near the Pan American senior records in this weight class. However, that doesn't mean there's not great competition, especially toward the end of this weight class.
And I'll talk to a bit about the clean and jerk, especially if we get into that 150 range, which I think is a possibility. I think Diego's thinking about this one a little bit.
Not much time left on the clock. He's got to go here.
Held on to that pull.
Taking that wide grip.
Wow.
Really? Look at that.
It's a gutsy effort from Soto.
He makes it 3 white lights, and we talk about selling a lift. He knew from that smile, he thought he had it, which goes a ways in convincing the judges.
And I'll tell you something else. Diego Soto, over his competitive career, we've seen him at the Olympic trial. I'm sorry, the Olympic test event, a couple of major South American championships, Pan Am's before. He has never made the third attempt, from what I can tell, in a major competition, or at least not in the several that I'm watching, not Pan Am. So that's a big deal for him to have gutted out that 126. That was a great job. All right, so the 126 stays on now. Dario Cruz, third attempt. No.
Same issue. We can replay that from the side again, but I think we're going to see the same issue.
With that back leg?
That back leg, even more pronounced actually in this lift than in his second and previous attempt. Just watch his back leg here. Again, the clean.
Very nice.
Hips come under just a little bit, but
it's solid.
Nothing to be too concerned on. And then right here, we're going to see that back leg, that back foot.
Just go.
Yeah.
So that leaves Dario with a 2 for 6 day. 215 kilo total, but that's a case, and you see this sometimes, where despite being 2 for 6 on the day, I think his performance and the way that he lifted is better than that outcome.
It's better than the final results you might suggest, and it's one of the, I guess, nuances of weightlifting.
Happens,
you can't. The whole story isn't told by the final outcome.
Right. All right, so now here is Rafael Ferrizola, who won bronze in the snatch. Opening lift 128 kilos. Well done.
All right, let's rewatch that replay from the front if we can. I actually want to see, a little tough to tell from the side there, his jerk technique, but that's been one of the more interesting aspects of competition today. We've seen a lot of different hand placements transitioning from the clean to the jerk.
This is just a more wide. I don't think he opened up.
No.
Yeah, that's where he started his hands, but that was solid. Jerk,
really
very solid.
Yeah, I like that look of that lift a lot. He's been a fun lifter to watch all day, and 4 for 4 so far.
Yeah, and keep an eye now on what Francisco Barrera does, because Ferrizola, having come out first, has opened this part of the competition up.
Yeah.
And it looks like Barrera, now at 130, is going to follow him. And that 2 kilo difference is going to be what Barrera needs to move ahead. So the game is on. And we are down to our final 4 lifters. Oh no, Rivera still has a couple of attempts. Rivera's not going to be able to factor in the total, but he can get in the mix here for the clean and jerk But right now, here's Francisco Barrera.
Of Chile.
First attempt, 130 kilos.
Strong clean.
All right. He opened with 129 a year ago. He opens with 130 here. Both were good. Last year in Cartagena, he clean and jerked 133 kilos. 137 is the most we've seen him do on a Pan Am stage. So there's a good possibility we'll see him there. But in the meantime, we're going to go back to Julian Rivera, who, this is a big jump here, right? No, 5 kilos.
Yeah, he opened at 125. This is what he bombed with in Tokyo, I believe, at the Junior World Championships early this year. So clearly something that he expects to be in his wheelhouse.
But it's been an ugly number for him. He missed it at his third. He missed 130 on his third attempt at the Junior World Championships last year in Tbilisi in 2016. He missed it 3 times in Tokyo, obviously, this year. So this is the 4th time that we've seen him take this weight on a major stage. Can it be the first time he makes it? We'll find out right now. No. It's just one of those numbers.
It's still haunting him a little bit.
He has made 131.
Well, he just needs to go to 132 then.
I think so.
It's clearly
Why not?
the answer.
Well, and
why
not?
In a weightlifter's career, there are some numbers that just
become beasts,
and they kind of stick with you. And it's I think he's got a good shot to come out and make that next attempt. I think he's felt the weight now. He's felt the speed of it. His tempo looked a little off on the clean. I think he might be a little more dialed in for his third attempt.
Yeah, I think he'll muscle up a little bit. He'll just find his way through it. It is a 2-minute clock here. He is following himself. If we look at the scoreboard, if he were to go to 131, I think Ferrizola and Barrera, who are both sitting on 131, will move off of it. So, and there's the change. So now it is going to bring out Ferrizola. I want to say Ferrizola is going to move up.
Yeah.
I don't think Ferrizola. This game, by the way, is going to give Rivera some weight. It's going to give him some rest.
And this is he's facing his final attempt.
And we see the coach going over. There's the change coming.
Yeah, this is the final attempt at the end of a long day. They're trying to get as much rest on their legs as possible here. We've seen earlier today, even just over 2 sessions, some athletes get pinned under their final cleans.
And it was a double move. So Ferrizola went up to 132. Francisco Barrera, moved up to 134.
Which leaves Rivera at 131, which he is going to take now.
Right, and the implications of those selections are if Ferrizola makes 132, Barrera will need the 134 to get ahead. If they're quick about it, on a miss, they can drop back down. So let's see how that plays out. In the meantime, 131 kilos. Julian Rivera, third attempt. This will match a good lift that he made at the Junior Worlds in 2016. He won a bronze medal in the clean and jerk at Junior Worlds with this weight.
In Tbilisi.
In Tbilisi.
Better clean.
If 130 is a bad weight, no, he didn't get the down signal.
Oh, wait. They're giving it to him.
I didn't see it down. I didn't see or hear it down
we didn't have the best angle there, and we actually weren't in a direct line of sight of the judges. So, but I think he'll get the lift. I think he gets it. 3 white lights.
And what I was saying was, if 130 is a bad weight,
131 is a good weight
because he's 2 for 2 with it. And with that 131, he will finish with a 227 kilo total. A few kilos below his best ever, but he's a young lifter. He is clearly very good, and I'm excited to see Julian Rivera in the years ahead.
Agreed.
I think he's going to be somebody from Ecuador that you need to remember, because we're going to see him again.
All right, now we have Rafael Ferrazola coming up for his second attempt. 132 kilograms. This is a 4-kilo jump on the 128. This is to stay perfect on the day. He's 4 for 4 so far.
And this will keep him ahead in the game that he's currently playing with Francisco Barrera for that podium spot. Oof. Wow.
Great looking. I like his technique a lot.
Yeah.
He's fast. He's confident. He's 5 for 5 on the day. So far, a pretty good day for Ferrazola, with 1 lift yet to go. It's going to be interesting. I think he's got more in the tank. But at the same time, there still is that separation.
Yeah, and strategy-wise, here's what he's going to do now. He will maybe let this 133 get introduced and run a little bit just to ice Barrera a little bit.
Right.
Then he will declare 134. And what he'll do is, or what they will do is, if Barrera misses here with the 134, once it gets loaded, he'll try to burn Barrera's two-minute clock and force Barrera to make a decision to either go back out on a short clock or go up anyway. And my guess is that he'll bait Barrera into going up in the event that Barrera misses here with the 134. So it's an interesting little play. It's an interesting little game, and it all will change if Barrera makes this.
If anyone ever tells you that weightlifting is anything but a mental sport, that strategy lesson from JP Nicoletta should suggest otherwise. There's a lot of strategy and a lot of timing, especially on the international stage.
All right, so now here is Francisco Barrera with 134 kilos. If successful, he will move ahead of Rafael Ferrazola of Ecuador. He's successful. So that's going to put
2 to 1 4, so 2 white lights for
Barrera. And what I think is that's going to force Ferrazola to 135.
134 kilos for Rafael Ferrazola, Ecuador, third and final attempt.
No, I'm sorry. Ferrazola only needs this 134.
Right.
So he can stay on this. If he's successful, he'll move back ahead of Barrera because it was a 2 kilo something. Right. So
Ferrazola
I
does not control.
take this way.
He does not control his own destiny right now, but he, for strategic purposes and to put himself in the best position, he should probably just take 134 here.
And it looks like he's scrambling here. I don't know if they realize he's wrapping his knees right now, and he is going to go up.
Okay.
Even though he doesn't need to.
We've seen this. I mean, we've actually seen this happen before. Coaches will lose track of time. They'll think there's more time on the clock than there is, and there's kind of a mad rush to go up a kilo. I think Ferrazola, he looked very comfortable with 132. I think this is 135 is certainly in his wheelhouse.
But here's the thing. They moved him up an additional kilo, which I don't think he needed. Because now what this will do is it'll force, if he makes it, it will force
Barrera up
to 137. But they made that 1 kilo jump. They shouldn't have given him a new clock. They just gave him a gift. All right. I'll be quiet now.
JP Nicoletta, besides being a color commentator, also moonlights as an official.
Yeah. Well, in any case, here's Rafael Ferrazola, third attempt. he just delivered. Good lift, 3 white lights.
Let's watch that again from the side. I really like his jerk technique. Don't think he should have been given a brand new clock there, but very patient on the clean, really gets that full extension and finishes and makes the jerk. So 6 for 6 on the day for Rafael Ferrazola. Great looking jerk there, really gets that head through.
So rendering all talk of strategy and other stuff moot when you deliver with a good lift. And what this does is force Francisco Barrera to take 137, which matches his best ever
And
clean
again,
and jerk.
for folks who aren't used to kilos, please learn them. But also, this is just under the 300-pound mark.
No, actually, 137 gets you over, doesn't it? No, you're right. You're right. No, it's over.
It does,
Yeah,
yeah.
301.
Apologies.
Barrera made this in 2013 at the Pan Ams. Great clean. And this is going to be a tough one. This can go either way.
Oh, 2 against.
Oh.
This is 300 pounds for these 56-kilogram lifters. So
And if he looks upset, it's because he is. That no lift decision will give Rafael Ferrazola the win over Barrera, which means with 2 lifters yet to open, we're going to
he's
see them
guaranteed a
now.
spot on the podium, on the
Same
overall
thing
podium.
as in the snatch. So Ferrazola got him on a close one in the snatch by 1 kilo, and it looks like Ferrazola did the same here in the clean and jerk. And that little decision in game to take the kilo that he didn't need in 135 worked out, because Ferrazola made that 135 kilo third attempt, polishing off a 6 for 6 day, 243 kilos, and then Francisco Barrera could not match him at 137.
Well, the good news is, as we go back to our camera view, is we have a competition yet to come within the competition.
So a battle just ended, but a war is about to begin.
And if the snatch portion was any indicator, we are about to see 2 very closely matched weightlifters duke it out for that top spot on the podium. 1 kilogram separating them coming out of the snatch. Berna, who won snatch gold with 119 kilograms, takes a 1 kilogram lead going into the clean and jerk, but is opening before Luis Garcia. 145 kilograms on the bar.
Garcia is sitting on 146. Shouldn't be doing that. He should be on 105. On 145, excuse me. Well, doesn't matter. Berna made it.
Very good looking lift from Berna, which brings up Luis Garcia for his first attempt at 146 kilograms. You talk about closely matched, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to get a much better battle than you're seeing between these 2 Olympians.
But here's the thing. Because he was defeated by 1 kilo in the snatch, he needs to win the clean and jerk by 1 kilo. And I'm sorry, he needs to win the clean and jerk by 2 kilos. He's got to get ahead of Berna. So he actually needs 147 to take the lead in the total, but he's going to wait this thing out for the second or third attempt. So this will give him the lead in the clean and jerk, but not in the total, if successful.
Now this puts Luis Garcia in a very difficult position because he needs to make a successful clean and jerk.
Berna is going to burn his. I'm sorry, Berna is going to burn his 1 minute clock. I'm sorry, Berna is going to burn his 2 minute clock. So he'll get introduced here.
So advantage goes back to Berna. right
So
now.
they ticked off 1 second, moved up to 147, and now that puts Luis Garcia back on the clock at 146 on a 1 minute clock after the miss. Last year, by the way, 3 lifters in this class clean and jerked 150. Luis Garcia, who was here, clean and jerked 145 and finished in 4th place.
So he needs to, making any clean and jerk will guarantee him a silver medal in overall.
Yes, in the clean and jerk and the total. We'll guarantee him a silver medal in the clean and jerk and the total.
Potentially gold in the clean and jerk, potentially.
Potentially, that's right.
But remember, he's 1 kilo behind on the snatch, so he has to win by 2.
And as luck would have it, right after a 1 minute clock got burned, there is blood on the bar.
Which means a technical stop, giving him
The time he
more
would
time.
have otherwise needed.
That's a
Boy,
bit
that's
of
time
fortune. Now the procedure for cleaning blood off a bar is you remove the bar from the platform. The cleaner puts on medical grade gloves. There is a solvent and disinfectant added to the bar, which is then wiped, scrubbed very thoroughly.
Yeah, and, you know, I understand you have to go through this process. You can't have blood on the bar. You can't be, but, you know, I've talked about this before, where generally speaking, the bar is a pretty nasty thing anyway. I mean, you know, you got everybody else touching it, chalk aside. I mean, blood's the least of your problems, I think, half the time.
Well,
everybody's sweating.
all that
Dead
said,
skin. Luis Garcia has gotten a perfect rest here by virtue of bleeding a little bit on the bar. Perfect. And what was interesting is he looked like he was ready to come back out quickly.
I think he just wants to get on the board here. There obviously you want to try and maximize rest for a lifter, but at the same time, mentally, sometimes you're ready.
Yeah. Well, and he did this in the snatch as well. He missed his opener, went up a kilo, came back and made it, and made things interesting. But in this case, he is going to repeat with the weight at 146. And as we mentioned, this is a double issue now because it will not move him ahead of Berna in the total. Another good clean.
Much better on the jerk.
Good lift.
So he does not control his own destiny.
But it's still a game.
And Carlos Berna Gonzalez sneakily has not missed a lift today.
That's right. You know, we've already seen 2 lifters go 6 for 6. Ferrizola and Soto have both been 6 for 6.
Sorry, we've seen 3 lifters go 6 for 6.
So I mean, that's tremendous lifting in its own right. I love seeing that. I don't care what the weight is. I mean, we're seeing a lot of made attempts at a very high level of weightlifting, and to have a competition end this way, where your gold medalist, it could potentially be 6 for 6, and your silver medalist could be 4 for 6. With weights that at this point are pretty big, and 148 looks like what it will be for Berna's second attempt.
148 kilos on the bar, please, for Carlos Berna of Colombia. This will be Carlos' second attempt.
149. So 148 is going to bring back Luis Garcia, and I'm pretty sure he's going to move it.
Berna has moved up to 149 kilos.
Yep.
I think Berna's going to take this. I think we're going to see him take this.
Garcia has elected 50.
Yep. His coach is calling him up. He's saying, now this is a great example of the coach taking the thinking out of the lifter's hands. Yeah. He's saying, you go lift this.
So for context, this is his second attempt. If he makes this, it will give him a 268 kilo total. That was the winning total in 2016.
40 seconds on the clock for Carlos Berna.
I think that was also the winning total in 2015. No, 269 is what won in 2015. All right, so now here's Carlos Berna, second attempt, 149 kilos. And Colombia is making its bid to sweep the 2 A sessions of day one. And what this means, and Luis Garcia is going to need to get to 269.
And I don't think it's going to happen. It looks.
He needs 151.
It looks like he's just going to take this 150. Okay, another technical timeout. Blood on the bar, giving Garcia additional rest again. It looks like Garcia's going for 150.
Why are they doing this?
I honestly don't know.
No, he needs 151 to move ahead. This one's a head scratcher. If they let him take this 50.
He was coming out to take it, and now there's a technical stop.
Yeah, blood on the bar again. Hopefully this gives them time to look at the screen and realize he needs 151.
Right, this would only tie, like, Berna has already lifted this total.
Correct, it'll give him a tie, which means you lose.
That's very interesting. Unfortunately, I don't think we as color commentators are allowed to run backstage and point out the. I can't help but think this is a strategic error. I'm not really sure.
Exactly. Luis Garcia of the Dominican Republic, if he comes out to take this attempt, has ceded the gold medal.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
To Carlos Berna. So regardless of outcome here, Luis Garcia,
their medals are set.
The medals are set. This will move him. The medals for total are set. If Garcia is successful, this could potentially be, as you mentioned,
a clean and jerk gold. Yeah.
Exactly.
But I don't see why he wouldn't go for the chance at the total.
I don't know why he wouldn't take the 51. Nice clean. And that's going to be a good lift, and you just hope that this wasn't a strategy mistake on behalf of the Dominican coaches. And
well, there's not much more to say. I mean, that was a good lift, and he really came through in the clutch there. But at the same time,
it's a head scratcher.
There's no way he can win gold now. I mean, their positions for all medals were already decided before he made that lift.
Yeah. It doesn't change the tone or the opinion of this being a terrific competition and terrific session. And we're about to close it out here on the third attempt of Carlos Berna.
This is to go 6 for 6.
Yeah. 3 golds across the board and a perfect day. That is not something you see often, especially at this level of competition. And boy, this would be a great way to close this session out. And Colombia, 6 golds across in day one.
Right now, one would argue, the dominant force in this hemisphere.
Not a surprise, and they're making a statement early.
And for the second straight session, Colombia sweeps your gold medals.
And there's a nice additional story to this in that Berna, who did 150 last year, who did a 262 kilo total last year, has been the silver medalist in this class the last 2 years. He has finally put himself atop the medal stand.
He is your Pan American champion for 2017 as we watch his final lift once more from a couple of different angles. Well, folks, that concludes the action for the men's 56 kilogram session here at the 2017 Pan American Championships. For Barbend.com, I'm David Tao.
And I'm JP Nicoletta. We'll be back with the women's 53B session at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you in a bit.